mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. He's alive! He's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am your mistress of ceremony, Sam, and I'm joined, as always, by Dan from Bleeding Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
Reality is something that none of us can stand at any time. Hiya!
Hi! Was that a him quote? Was that a his quote?
Yes.
Ah. Be prepared to hear a lot of this tonight. Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Monsters of North podcast. Sorry we weren't here last week. That was all my fault.
No, it wasn't. We didn't want to be there. No.
We didn't. We just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, we just went nah.
Fuck this. No, I was not well. So we bowed out for a week, and thank Christ we did. Give us enough time to do this one, and yeah,
Have it ingrained in our retinas.
Yeah, we now want it over with so we can move on to happier times.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, we're doing the man behind the movies, Alfred Hitchcock. So I'm going to do the disclaimer, and then we're gonna get this ball rolling.
Make him go away.
I promise you, by the end of tonight, he will be gone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, driver. So, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on our socials. Or you can join us in the comment section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in fandom. So, let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism.
Don't be a dick. Thank you.
Simples. Right, I have an intro that has another warning in it. Right. Sir Alfred, that's a good start. Sir Alfred Joseph Hitchcock, born the 13th of August, 1899, died the 29th of April, 1980, with a career spanning over 6 decades with over 500 feature films to his name. Tonight, we explore the man we have come to research through movies, documentaries, and articles. Some topics may be uncomfortable for viewers and listeners, therefore, a trigger warning is in place. But if you are sticking with us, Monsters of North brings you the man we all know as the Master of Suspense, Sir Alfred Hitchcock. Yay! I did it. I always ruin stuff, don't I? I can't just and continue.
It's not you look up. You need to just keep reading. You just look up to go, hiya.
All right. Oh, that was so creepy. Just like the man himself. So creepy.
Segue.
Oh, good God. Yeah, so we thought, or Dan thought, this was a great idea.
Sorry.
Until, because yeah, as you may have noticed, moving forward, the choices are, I'm not making no choices. We've learned lessons. Lessons have been learned. Slashoween is finally over. Whew. But no, the man has made some incredible movies. One we've even covered ourselves when we did Psycho. It's a really good episode because it's a very good film. Right. However, the man behind it is a lot to be desired, and we are going to go through what we've learned, what we know, and kind of give you our picture of Alfred Hitchcock. Because our opinions are not as the same as everyone else's, as I have so learned by going through this.
And you are free to make up your mind, and we're not saying we are right. This is just how we feel. We're not saying you should feel this way too. We are just bringing a different kind of approach to this. I mean, this was not my intention. This was not where I was set out to go. But I'd have to be honest, he's not given me much of a choice because this is where everything just kept leading back to. So,
Yeah. Well, just to give you a brief overview, Alfred Hitchcock was born on the 13th of August, 1899. He was born in Essex. Um,
oh,
hmm?
he was born in Leytonstone, if I remember right.
He was born in 517 High Road in Leytonstone, which is part of Essex, now part, well, I don't know London, so, it's just all one big smush to me. Which is now part of the London Borough of Walford Forest.
Right, I'll tell you something. Essex to London is what Sunderland is to Newcastle.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Got
then
ya.
Essex isn't London.
Thank you
And
for talking northern to me.
yeah, Essex isn't London. Even though it has part of it's got London boroughs. So the parts that have London boroughs are classed as London. But the majority of Essex is its own county itself. It isn't London. Essex is a separate entity.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the best way to say is everybody knows Newcastle. Most people know Sunderland, but they're going to presume that everybody from Sunderland is from Newcastle if they don't know the difference between the accents. It's very similar with Essex and London. They think
Yeah,
the same thing.
that is so true. Because when I first met you 2 glorious years ago, I thought you were from Essex. You are not.
I talk like that sometimes, isn't it? Like,
You've done it
I
before, but
have,
no, I can
yeah.
clearly tell you're from London.
It's like I sometimes talk like that, and that's the Essex, isn't it? It's the Gemma Collins, isn't it? Like they all have
Mm,
the way they talk. Yeah.
you do say certain words.
No,
Innit?
my normal, the way I normally talk when I'm not putting my posh accent on is proper something and nothing, and that's more London than it is
Yeah,
Essex.
and I've learnt that.
Yeah. So there is a very big difference, but then obviously if you are more East End, which is Cockney rhyming slang, apples and pears, and all that gumph, that's nearer to Essex because you're on the borderline. East London hits Essex, so yeah,
I
it's
wish we had something like that.
oh, there's a lot you don't.
We just got way pet.
Yeah, but we have little old people that dress up and put little pearly buttons on there.
And they look adorable. We've just got ragheads who go around Newcastle just smashing shit up.
Sounds about
Yeah,
oh, well, they're everywhere, but yeah.
they
Did you
are.
know he was born?
Oof.
He died 16 days before I was born.
What?
I was born on the 15th of May 1980, doxing myself here, and he died on the 30th or the 29th
29th.
of April 1980, so 16 days before I was born.
Gee,
And
okay,
I
okay.
may have found out something that I'm not overly proud to admit, but we're looking into it. His mother was a Whelan, and his mother, she married to become a Hitchcock. And we have Whelans in our family. And there is a long succession of John Whelans in Alfred's lineage. So his uncle was John Whelan, and he's got cousins that were called John Whelan. My uncle's called John Whelan. His uncle was called John Whelan. So we're like, okay, this is a bit weird, spelled exactly the same. We're all from London. So not to say it is, but there's a possibility that's going to get looked into to see if there is some sort of like correlation between
Oh my
Hitchcock
God.
and it's my family through marriage though. It's not my family through blood, but it's one of
Oh
those
my
things where
God.
it was just a strange thing. I stumbled upon the surname and I was like, well, that's not a common surname. So I was like,
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Wow. Okay. You kept that one to yourself.
well, it was literally one of those things I learnt like about 3 days ago because I started looking into his family tree and I was like, I wonder where his family was from because obviously with him um being British born and then emigrating to the US, you only sort of focus on the US part of his career because that's where it really took off.
Yeah.
You don't know, not a lot of people know about the Germany thing, like they don't know about the majority of his
His
career.
silent
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, so it's you know, there's a lot more to his early career, and I would like to just say I don't know how I feel about Alma either.
Yeah. Got some reservations on her.
His wife. If
Not.
you don't
Oh,
know who Alma is,
sorry.
it's his
Alma
wife. Yeah.
Hitchcock is his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, okay. You need to follow up with that then.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's one of those things I've got to look a bit more into, but obviously they have better, my cousin will have better information than I will, so I'll just have to
Jesus.
sort of hand it off to her.
It's like when Ants turned around to me one day and said, he mentioned when we first got together, I mentioned Nana Wilson. And I went, well, hang on. I have a Nana Wilson. Um, let's find this one. Yeah, we're not related.
Let's do
But
the genealogy tests. Thank you.
yeah, no, we're definitely not related. But my married surname comes from Bruce, Scottish, from Robert the Bruce. Very, 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 very faint line because obviously Bruce changes into Bryce and filters down and yeah, from royalty.
Okay, okay.
And my family tree on my dad's side, we can't actually figure out because someone had multiple affairs and had multiple children everywhere. Just fucking everywhere. The line is just broke.
I was going to say, I mean, there's been some conspicuous, like, saying that we came over, like, to do with the potato famine, but I was just like, no, because my grandparents have actually first generation Irish. So
Yeah,
the potato famine wasn't in the 60s. So I think,
no,
they
no.
didn't go then. But my mum's side,
My family did.
well, my mum's side of the family, we traced it back to be mainly Scottish and Irish. So any which way you look at it,
Well,
I have Celtic in
yeah,
some
yeah.
way in my DNA spit, but obviously,
I've done one. I've done a DNA
okay,
test. Yeah,
yeah,
I got it for Christmas off my sister. I am 52% Scottish, I'm 36% Irish, and the rest is just England, Yorkshire.
I think
I am 100% white.
yes, I am going to be very much a mix because my mum's done hers and she had Scandinavian in there, which
Mm-mm.
would mean that I technically would have like a tiny percentage of Scandinavian. So I know that that's in there, which makes sense if you'd seen me as a child because I had white blonde hair and I was very Nordic looking when you look at the pictures of me as a child. It's like a Village of the Damned kind of child, like. Um, so yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's that, but the Irish is just there's no doubt, unless I am the milkman's, and I've never been told. But
It's weird because the Scottish comes from my mum's side. I mean, we don't know my mum's side of the family. But my father-in-law who does all these family trees, he found out that it was her father who came down from Scotland. So it's all of that. So that's where the Scottish comes from. But yeah, I'm 52%. I'm half Scottish. Half Scottish. But Alfred wasn't. He was full on English. He was described as the well-behaved boy. His father called him Little Lamb Without a Spot.
then why did his father play that cruel trick on him?
Which one? The policeman one?
Hmm?
I don't know.
Because the more I looked into that, I was like, okay, he's either done something absolutely horrifically wrong for that, or
Hmm.
the dad's got a sadistic streak, but he's trying to teach him wrong from right at the same time. But
Well,
then of the time, it was the 20s or 10s at that point when he would have been that young, four. So yeah, he
yeah.
would have been 1905 or something.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was born in
So
1899, so yeah.
yeah, so that I mean, and he's lucky he didn't end up as a fucking chimney sweep. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah. So what had happened was, he sent young Alfred to the police station with a note and locked him in a cell for a few minutes, saying this is what happens to naughty boys.
Mm.
And the experiment left him with a lifelong phobia of law enforcement. Did
Let's
it?
see why. But did it? No, probably not.
Did it? Scared him stiff, apparently. And he refused to even drive a car in case he got a parking ticket.
But then he was also scared of eggs. So I mean, really, I don't really
Yeah, he has a
understand.
massive phobia of eggs.
I mean, there's a difference between a dislike of something and then a phobia of something. And I feel like phobia is thrown around too easy. Like how I don't understand how you can have a phobia of an egg unless you're consistently paranoid something's going to jump out of it. That I get as part of a phobia. But you know what I
Just
mean? Like I
imagine.
can't, my brain doesn't work out how,
I don't think I have any phobias. I have fears. I don't have phobias.
yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't get it. I'm going to list off a few of his facts so we can then start getting into the movies we actually watched that has kind of formed the opinion of where we're at with them. And because we've not watched any of his films,
No.
because like we said last week, they could come along later on in something, because like there is, I can name a couple off the top of my head. Obviously, we've done Psycho. Rear Window is one of my favorite films. Strangers on a Train, Marnie, The Birds. So we
North
don't
by Northwest.
North by Northwest,
Yeah.
Vertigo.
Yeah.
There's a fair few that we could potentially dive into at some point,
Dialogue
because
Murder. Yeah.
we have a good way of being able to separate him from the actual story and the people who were involved with the other people who were involved with the film.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be focusing so much on his films. We've actually watched two films that have been biographies of his life and what we have found from our research on the back of them. But I do have a few little tidbitty facts about the man. And sound like I said tidbitty. Titty.
Hey, we all love boobs. Crack on.
Wish I had them. He won a Lifetime Achievement Award in 1979. He joked that with his friends that he was probably going to die soon. He died a year later. Funny joke, Alfred. Very funny joke. He almost apparently never socialised when shooting films. Spent most of his evenings quietly at home with his wife Alma and daughter Patricia. If you did watch the Hitchcock episode, Hitchcock the Psycho one, you'll know that Patricia was actually in Psycho.
She was also in Strangers on a Train and Stage Fright. So she featured in 3 of his movies that I'm aware of. I tried to find more, but they were the ones that came up the most.
She wasn't really an actress.
No, she was just a little kid that sort of sat in the background, or was she was somewhere in the picture. You know, like he did his cameos.
Yeah, he always did a cameo.
He started to put her in. But I think she just couldn't be bothered, or he just lost.
She wanted a family, and I think she, from what I was reading about her, she did them as something, but really, essentially, she just wanted to be the housewife, and she had a husband and had children. Though he was Oscar nominated 5 times for Best Director. DGA nominated 6 times as Best Director and received 3 nominations from Cannes. He never won any of them. Never won any of them.
He was, from what I can gather, though, he was really weird when it came to recognition.
Yeah.
If anybody ever sort of tried to praise for the weird egomaniacal nonsense he doesn't deal with praise well, like from his peers. Because
No.
he turned down an OBE or a CBE or something, didn't he?
He got a knighthood.
Yeah, he turned it down allegedly. So I've been told. Well, the CBE, the Commander of the Order of the British Empire, which is handed out by the Queen at the time, and he turned it down in 1962 because he said he's only a guy who makes films. He's only a guy who makes films. What the hell does he want to be? Why should he be a knight? I don't know what a CBE means, if that puts you as a knight. I think an OBE puts you as the Knight of the Realm, doesn't it?
I haven't got a clue.
There's so many different tiers. You've got CBEs, OBEs,
CBDs. He was appointed in Knight and Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire in 1980, which is the year he died. He was too ill to travel to London. He had a pacemaker and was being given cortisone injections for his arthritis. So on the 3rd of January 1980, the British Consul General presented him with the papers at Universal Studios. Asked by a reporter after the ceremony why it had taken the Queen so long, Hitchcock quipped, "I suppose it's a matter of carelessness." Cary Grant, Janet Leigh, and others were attendee for the luncheon that happened afterwards.
He was 81 years old when he got his actual knighthood.
And then died.
Does that make an exit, doesn't he? You know.
Yeah. Speaking of Cary Grant, he was a frequent contributor to his movies, and there was a handful of people that he liked to go back to. I'm not just talking about women, men in particular. Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart.
Am I right in saying he didn't like Jimmy though?
Jimmy didn't like anyone.
Yeah, no, because this is the thing, when he works, he's notorious for being someone like we see quite commonplace now. People like Mike Flanagan,
Yeah.
people like Ryan Murphy, people like uh, there's a lot of directors that like to work with the same actors because they know what they're going to get. It's an easy shoot, it's a quick shoot. They know they can deal with these people and they don't have to give either excessive direction or they're just easy to respond to everything. So I feel like that's why he's stuck, but he was one of the first people to do that in such a
Yeah.
obvious way. So they would rub each other up the wrong way, especially him against the men, because he used to play so many practical jokes on everyone.
I don't think he liked people who come up against him.
No, and you were never supposed to say talk back to him or tell him
No.
off or
And one actress who clearly was not one of his typical actresses, not one of his typical blondes, because there was no effing way in God's green earth he could do what he did later on, was Carol Lombard. Carol Lombard is the wife, or was the wife, of Clark Gable until she was sadly taken out in an airplane accident. She was doing the wartime um cheer on the troops
yeah.
and had a horrific crash. She was 33 years old.
Oh, she was when she
Yeah,
went.
33. Clark Gable pined. He's buried next to her, even though he remarried. He buried next to her, like he pined for that woman.
I
But she,
do.
hmm?
I was just gonna say I do often wonder in situations like that, and I know it's slightly off tangent, but hey, woo.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
just
who would you be buried next to if you remarried?
yeah.
That's
I,
always the thing, you know. I always think that that's got to be a really horrible situation to be in.
yeah. I feel like there's got to be a level of understanding. I mean, Carol was, and I think for the other person is, if that other person was here, you would probably never have married. It's fucked up,
Yeah,
but yeah, he was. I don't even think he married Carol, but
it was just the love of
Carol,
his life.
yeah, absolutely, but Carol took no guff when it came to Hitchcock, because he once made a remark that actors should be treated like cattle during the film of Mr. and Mrs. Smith in 1941. So Carol Lombard took it upon herself to bring 3 cows on set, wearing the name tags of Lombard, Robert Montgomery, and Jean Raymond. So they knew that they knew the comments that he'd made, and she basically was like, "Fuck you, have these cows."
Yeah, I mean, he did much worse on set. Like, he used to go on set in drag. Did you know that? He used to
I
dress up as a woman.
didn't.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not drag as we know it, but he used to dress up as a woman, um, and walk around set and just genuinely creep people out for that because he liked to watch people's reactions to gauge what it would do to their psyche, so he knew what buttons he needed to push in
Hmm.
his audience. So he'd do things like that just to see what would happen. And people say it was so out of character for him to do those things in one way because he was such a homebody, he was such a quiet person.
Yeah,
He wasn't filming. When you put him you put him on a studio and he just turned into this completely other different person. Like he was Alfred Hitchcock there. But
yeah,
they he had a habit of also liking to scare people. Like his practical jokes were based on fear as well. So he used to find out people's phobias and he'd play on it and he'd send them boxes of spiders, uh,
dick.
like dressed up like in beautiful bows, mice in boxes. You know, we're going full Jared Leto, Joker, Margot Robbie, alleged
Wow.
story. And he'd find out what really made people scared and he would send them it and then watch their reactions when they opened it just to know what a true reaction looked like in person.
What a weird man.
Honestly was. I mean, I kind of understand it in one way because there's no Google, there's no way of looking at what really like real expressions of fear and terror have been. If you're from somebody who's been from a middle class working class background that
She
has never
was.
been, you know, had any kind of level of trauma or stress in his life to the extent of that he would know what true fear really looked like because he's not seen it.
Yeah.
Because we're not at wartime, you know. Well, when he's playing these jokes, we kind of are, but it was a
Yeah.
different kind of. It's a different kind of war because he lived through two. He lived through the first one
And the
and the
second,
second one, and how he didn't get conscripted. I tried to look into it, but
couldn't,
oh,
no, nothing.
that's
Uh,
buried. That's buried.
oh, yeah, and imagine that is very much buried. I feel like he's, when I've been watching interviews and videos of people describing his work, he always has the audience at the forefront of everything. How is the audience going to follow this? And I feel like that's where he's, because honestly, him aside, his movies are some of the most thrilling and plot driven, like they're so in depth, and there is like a genuine reaction when you do watch them, and he has that all in the forefront while he's piecing these movies together. Alma gets a lot of credit, which some biographers say isn't actually due. Some of them do. When it comes to him, when it comes to the stuff that we're about to talk about, his biographers are all over it. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. She's lying. She's changed her story. She's done X, Y, and Z. And I'll get into that later on. But when it comes to his work, they're very protective. Like Alma couldn't have done this because Alma wouldn't have been here, and it's very much solely he's him. He's such a genius. Look at this genius man.
Yeah, I don't know. She's an anomaly for me where she fits
She's
in.
a fucking enabler, is what she is.
She's something. And
She
that's
knew exactly what was going on in his mind because a lot of it is just construed in his mind. And then some parts of it come out to a. I didn't, you know, the one thing I kind of regret now is not looking into Grace Kelly because him and Grace Kelly had a very strange relationship.
yeah, I mean, I read a lot about it. Um, she couldn't stand him. He made her levels of uncomfortable that she said she never felt working on any set with any other
Hmm.
person. And as we know, that's a bit of a theme because that's what he's known for doing, terrorizing his female um leads.
Apart from Janet Leigh,
Yes, I don't
because
know what happened with that one.
it's because he didn't want to deal with if
Tony.
Janet, yeah, Tony, don't want to deal with.
That's fair. That's
Didn't
fair.
know he had a reputation. That man had a temper, and yeah, he didn't want to deal with that. That's what I've read. That's what I truly believe as well, because I don't know if any of you have actually watched an interview with Tony Curtis. He gets really heated. He
Yeah.
goes from 0 to 100 in a second.
Yeah. I mean,
Not now, like he's dead, but you know, when he was alive.
he was infamous for being a hothead for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I watched an interview with him where they were talking about Marilyn Monroe, and oh my God, he genuinely wasn't listening to the person who was asking him questions. And he literally just went on this rampage of just, you don't know her, you didn't meet her, you didn't work with her, she was this, she was that. What are you saying about her? How dare you say stuff like this about her?
All
He's
right.
just.
Calm down, Tony.
He
Jeez.
was all over the place. And I genuinely don't think Hitch, because he found out about these women
Mm,
and found out what their attachments were, what they weren't. Janet was hot shit at the time,
hmm.
but Janet also came with Tony Curtis,
Yeah, and
who
obviously,
fought for that relationship as well, by the way. He went against studios. Studios told him, no, you can't marry this woman, you can't marry her. And he just went, who the fuck? Do you know who I am? I'm Tony fucking Curtis. And he fought studios because studios, I don't think people realize what studios had on these actors and
oh,
actresses. They had, this is their life in their hand. They literally had it. And you couldn't fucking breathe the
no.
wrong direction without your studio knowing about it. They used to house like actresses The studio would gather all these actresses who they signed for contracts to say you're on a development deal. Marilyn was one of them, and they would go and live in houses and being taught how to act the way the studio wants you to act.
Yep. And they would
Look
be
at Judy Garland.
Yep, they'd be tied into multiple movie deals. But back then, we're not talking like we are now, where they'll bang out a massive, great big blockbuster every year. Multiple movie deals were like seven movies to 10 movies. Now, in today's terms, that's 7 to 10 years of your life you're committing.
Hmm.
But in them days, that could be anything up to 25 years because you weren't necessarily getting a movie a year. You were getting a movie every 3 or 4 years because
When
it's
they wanted
long.
you.
And you were not allowed to go and audition for anyone else. You were allowed to be loaned out if the studio deemed that, say Paramount and Universal were sitting together and he turned around and Universal said, right, we've got Janet Leigh. She's in a 10-deal contract, but you can have her if we can have Grace Kelly. We'll do a
Yeah.
swap.
Vice versa. And
But they are still ours and she's still yours, but we'll do it on a loan, on a straight swap, instead of paying any financial means. It was the way that they used to do it, but the actresses weren't allowed necessarily to go and approach other parts at any point or break their contracts. Breaking your contract was career suicide. Absolute career suicide if you were a woman back in
yeah,
the day.
Marilyn played Marilyn. I know I go back to Marilyn's because I know her more than any other actress. But when she did her last movie, Something's Got to Give, she fucked around and found out basically.
Mm.
I'm gonna find the actor. I think it was Cary Grant. Marilyn Monroe, Something's Got to Give. I think it was Cary Grant. Was it Dean Martin? Was Dean Martin. Sorry, my apologies. So she was doing her last movie, Something's Got to Give, which is a title that goes to another film that my mum fucking loves. I think it's got Meryl in it. And she fucked around and found out. She went and did JFK. She went and did the Happy Birthday, Mr. President. They told her not to. She said, "Oh, I'm sick, I'm poorly," and then ends up at this party. And the studio went, "Lady, you're out."
Yeah.
And it's not a case of you're out, you're fired, you're not getting paid. You're out, you're fired, and we're going to take your whole fucking livelihood. You're going to owe us so much fucking money. If it wasn't for Dean Martin,
Mhm.
she would have. Bearing in mind what happens shortly after this is life altering because she dies. But at the time, Dean Martin said, "Well, if she's not in it, I'm not. I'm not in it.
Mm.
I'm not doing it." Dean Martin was a name. He was the name. For all you think Marilyn is, it's probably more Dean Martin than it is her.
You have to remember the period of time as well. The women didn't carry the movies. All the men got the top billing, and the women did get. Sometimes they get top credit, but
Not
most of the
all the
time they
time.
got the bottom credit. You know, when you get all the, you can't see it on my face, but it's
Yeah, yeah,
usually across here at the bottom of
yeah.
the poster. You get da 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 da, Cary Grant, da, Marilyn, directed by, they never got top of the movie poster. That changed towards the end of the 50s, I think it was.
It was starting to change. Well, that's a really good segue into representation of women.
God, this
Um,
hold on to your seats, people.
yeah, I'm going to just go off what I actually have here. So, Hitchcock's portrayal of women has been subject to much scholarly
Yeah,
scholarly? Is that a word? Scholarly? Scholar
I'll go with it.
debate.
Yeah. Okay. The mass debate, yes, with regards to it.
Someone called Bidisha wrote in The Guardian in 2010, I'm very sorry if I have butchered your name. There's the vamp, the tramp, the snitch, the witch, the slink, and the double crosser, and the best of all, the demon mummy. Don't worry, they all get punished in the end. Hitchcock had a way of making his women a driving force for men to either be a hero, a savior, or a murderer.
Hmm.
It's very much it's a debate that started for comic book fans in the 90s when Gail Simone came out with Women in the Fridge, a like a very low end, not low end, but like very 90s website, like a forum. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And it started the conversation of female characters being used as a plot point to progress a male character by any means necessary. And it started with Green Lantern, where his girlfriend was found in a refrigerator. Well, found in a refrigerator, and she was literally in half. It was fucking, for a comic book panel, it is gruesome. So the female characters in the films reflect the same qualities over and over again. The blonde. They were icy and remote. They were imprisoned in costumes that subtly combined fashion with fetishism. They mesmerized the men, who often had physical or psychological handicaps. Sooner or later, every Hitchcock woman was humiliated. Hitchcock's films often featured characters struggling in their relationships with their mothers, such as Norman Bates in Psycho. In North by Northwest, Roger Thornhill, who is Cary Grant, is an innocent man ridiculed by his mother for insisting that shadowy, murderous men are after him. In The Birds, Rod Taylor's character, an innocent man finds his world under attack by vicious birds and struggles to free himself from a clinging mother, which is Jessica Tandy. Fucking brilliant. The killer in Frenzy has a loathing of women but idolizes his mother. The villain Bruno in Strangers on a Train hates his father but has an incredible close relationship with his mother. Can we see the theme here? Sebastian, Mr. Claude Rains himself, in Notorious, has a clearly conflicting relationship with his mother, who is rightly suspicious of his new bride, Alicia Humberman, which is Ingrid Bergman. So, from what I've gathered from that whole thing that I've just read, this man has some major mother issues.
Write what you know. Hey, Alfie boy, write what you know.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah,
had a deep hatred for women, as well as a huge respect is not the word. He had an obsession, I think is probably the best way to put it.
yeah.
An obsession with women that teetered on, it didn't teeter on, it actually went full into it, but into a level of obsession that now you can get arrested for. We're talking, he took measures to not get, well, yeah, to do background work on these women, to see what made them tick, to see how far he could push them, to push them past that point, to break them, to make them dependent on him, to make them confide in him. It's like
And
he's learnt this from somewhere.
yeah, and to introduce the wife into it makes everything for the woman familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a case of, oh, it's okay, his wife's there.
Yeah, you're safe.
You're safe. You're safe. It's okay because the
Yeah.
wife's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was very good at that. I think that's a perfect segue into the two films we watched. But before I do that, I just want to give you my last tidbit, which fucking tickled my funny bone. Walt Disney refused him to film at Disneyland in the early 60s because Hitchcock had made that disgusting movie Psycho. Apparently that's me, Walt Disney voice.
It's all right. At least he wasn't Jew, eh? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We know what you think about,
Yeah.
anti-Semitism, Mr.
Yeah.
Disney.
I think pot calling kettle black is an understatement when it comes to that, Walt.
It's such a murky quagmire that I didn't realize was as deep and thick as it has evidently become.
Yeah.
Its research. And yeah, like you say, that film that we're about, well, one of the films we're about to talk about is the direct reason why I chose him. But in the same vein, when you dig deeper and you find out how far it ran through, it was very surprising to me, like how much.
Yeah. There's right. So the film that we're doing is what's it? Dan, I've completely lost it now. The Girl. The Girl. So The Girl is the story of Tippi Hedren and her relationship with the two films that she did with Hitchcock. These are taken from the memoirs of her book and somebody else's book. Completely forgot. to write
They
it
were
down.
made. It was made for the BBC, and it debuted on BBC Two.
It's a HBO film.
See, no, it's not. BBC funded it. BBC sorted it. HBO bought it for the American market.
Okay, that makes
So,
so much more sense because I was like, wow, this is a really British cast
yeah,
for a HBO film.
it was a BBC commissioned movie for BBC Two, and it starred everybody at that time that was
Oh, it's like the English of
fine.
all
Yeah.
English actors, but the
Imelda
book,
Staunton, Sienna Miller. Like, I
yeah.
do apologise. I thought it was Naomi Watts. It's not. It's Sienna Miller. And then
Oh, I
Toby
forgive you.
Jones, Little Dobby himself.
Little
Um,
Dobby. Oh my God, that man just is. You want to talk about actor's actor? He is the epitome of an actor's actor. He's done it all. He's done comic book movies. In bloody Captain America, man. He did what do you call it? He's Dobby. Um, the Postman one.
yeah,
He's played Capote. He's played Hitchcock.
he's also in Mobland most recently as a dirty cop. Toby Jones has this thing. He's the guy that you see in everything,
But don't know who he is.
and not only that, you're not aware of how much work that guy does to get into character, because he genuinely said with the whole post office thing that for those of you that aren't from the UK, you may well have heard of a post office scandal that happened where
Or you may not have.
you may not have, but there was a computer system that was installed that basically technically sent a lot of independent post offices bankrupt because they were accusing them of stealing money that wasn't there because the system wasn't counting it, or it wasn't being put through, or it was saying it was there and it wasn't there, and these people were being made to pay back thousands of pounds and being accused of stealing money, and
Some went to prison.
yeah, some went to prison, some killed themselves over it. It was such
Yeah.
a huge thing when this all came to light. And it was relatively recent as well. So it's not like a 1980s thing.
No, this is so
Relatively
recent, and this was they so doubled down. The system does not, the system is not faulty.
Yeah.
You are in the wrong. But this guy who Toby plays,
Mm.
and he was like, well, no, and he stood up, and Toby's performance is just mind-bendingly brilliant. But when you go back and look at all the work he's done, everything is mind-bendingly brilliant. He
Because
puts everything into it.
correct. You've got the two shades of Hitchcock, right? You've got the Hitchcock that everybody sees on the movies from the cameos, the one that everybody goes on about, what a fantastic man he is, what a brilliant director he is. You've got that person that's on the pedestal. But this movie is knocking him off with a massive rock.
It's literally taken a fucking sledgehammer to it.
And I'm so glad somebody sat back and went, you know what? We're going to look into this Tippi Hedren thing. We're going to look into what she's claiming in her book. We're going to look at this and say, right, okay, hang on a minute. Do we tell this story?
Yeah, because do you know what? I'm just thinking, I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that we might go back and do some of these films. I don't think I will ever do The Birds now because I'm having flashbacks of what actually happened. I don't think I want to go through that again if we're doing it now.
It's psychological fucking warfare, honestly.
Fucking physical fucking warfare too. The book that I referenced, so yeah, it's part of Tippi's. Tippi did a memoir, and some of it's taken from hers, but the main source comes from Donald Spotto's 2009 book, Spellbound by Beauty, Alfred Hitchcock and His Leading Ladies. And it examines the relationships between Hitchcock and his female stars. And obviously Tippi is a huge factor to it. And this is what this film surrounds around. Susan Sarandon.
Yes. Which brings me to the fact that I found out that, and I don't know why I didn't know this. I feel like I should know this, but I didn't. The fact that Tippi Hedren is the mother of Melanie Griffith.
You didn't know that?
I feel like I should have known it, but
Yeah.
like it was very surprising when I saw it because there was an interview with Dakota Johnson
who was
problematic within her own sort of little world. And she was saying that she was proud of her grandmother for making this movie, for writing the book and helping make this
and she
movie
did.
possible. She said, but what, obviously because it's Dakota, it always came back to her. And she was saying about how she couldn't bear to listen to the things that were happening to her because it's her grandmother, and it, you know, there's the whole thing which we will get onto for Marnie that happened. And she was like, I couldn't, you know, I didn't want to watch that. I didn't want to read those bits because that's my grandmother, and it affected me deeply. And I'm like, I don't know whether you're trying to stay relevant, Dakota. I don't really know. She doesn't ever come across as likable
She can fuck off. I generally have no time for her whatsoever. This was written by a woman called Gwyneth Hughes, so taken from the book, and it's written. She did The Postman as well.
Right.
So she did that. Got a work. It kind of speaks for itself. Where she stands, like it's injustice. And telling people stories who have felt injustice. It was directed by Julian Gerald, who I didn't recognize the name, in all honesty. But he has a plethora of work from English, Touching Evil, All King's Men, Great Expectations. Like he sounds like an English Kinky Boots. He did Kinky Boots.
Sienna Miller.
Recognize that. Yeah, so Dan recommended for me to watch this one, and I think you said you'd seen Hitchcock, but you couldn't remember it.
I'd seen the Anthony Hopkins one, yeah,
Uh-huh.
for sure, and I didn't go back and watch it again. That was my bad.
That's fine. It's
Because I think I was just, these last 2 weeks have been very, like, you pick up and you start getting into it. And you're like, I can only do small bits at a time.
yeah.
Like, because it became very overwhelming in the respect of this is quite a hard subject to talk about.
Especially with a guy of his nature, we are meant to or perceive that he's a great man. He's a great director who's done some of the most amazing thriller movies of the last God knows how many decades. To sit here and talk about him in the way that we are, it kind of can feel slightly wrong, but it's also wrong not to talk about it.
And that's the thing. In good conscience, you can't not put this across. Yes, he was a great director. Yes, he's responsible for some of the most iconic and I don't really know how to put it, iconic movies, but also like game changers of his time.
Mm-hmm.
But with today's eyes, some of the films can be incredibly boring. Like if you don't know what you're watching, you don't know the history behind the movie.
I can kind of understand that.
They are incredible. Some of them can be incredibly boring. But you also have to bear in mind the guy had a movie career spanning from the 20s all the way up to the 79, I think was his last movie.
Yeah, I don't even think if he got that finished or not.
Yeah, so
Yeah, he's credited for giving England its first ever talkie
yes.
with Blackmail.
Yeah, because he went to Germany to under contract with Paramount Studios to do two German informational British liaison. I don't really know what they were, but they are on his listings. And they were supposed to be good for morale, good for relationship, at the time because it was that gap between World War One and World War Two when they were trying to build bridges and everything.
Yeah.
So it was some sort of inter-political bullshit, but
Thing.
they were like, oh, Hitchcock, he's a big name, we can fill that hole. And in that time, didn't he meet Moreau? And that's how he learned how to do silent movies. And he holds Moreau in great esteem because he said that he could direct someone to do so much without saying a single word. And for those of you who don't know who Moreau is, he's the original director and the guy who got sued and completely tanked a studio. He's responsible for the original Nosferatu. He ripped off Bram Stoker and ended up paying the price for it massively. So technically, Hitchcock got in with a bit of a crook and became a crook himself in weird ways, not in the same
And
way.
more, not in the same respect. And if you
No.
want to learn more about that, we actually have an episode on Nosferatu where we talk about it. Um, yeah, blackmail is a combination of silent and talkie because at the time it was when things were starting to change, but there were certain things that they couldn't change because they couldn't translate it from silent to talkie. So the whole film is just a mismatch of the two.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, it's brilliant.
Yeah, because
Um,
I know that in the US the original first talkie was the jazz singer, wasn't it?
Jazz singer, that's right.
And then it went on to Hitchcock being responsible for the very first talkie in the UK.
Yes,
So,
that's correct.
but it was all under the same hat. It was all under like, oh, if they can do it, we can do it. We must beat those. The transatlantic accent then comes into play, and everybody speaks like this back in the day, don't they? So
Yes, yes, they do. But we'll never be. The thing is, I knew the jazz singer. No fucking idea about the fact that we had a counterpart to theirs, which was blackmail. And again, it's meant to be an excellent thriller. Really, really good film. Hard to get a hold of though.
yes, because didn't he own? Hitchcock had a habit of collecting his own movies, right? He would, if it would run out of contract with the studio, and he would
Hmm.
make a bargain with the studio that the minute they became available, he was to have first refusal on any of his films. So then what he would do, he'd take it and he'd sit on it,
As
and
you do.
you would never see the film. Like there was such a long period where I think it was about 10 of his most famous films you couldn't watch for love nor money. Like I think one of them was Strangers on a Train, North by Northwest, Vertigo, Psycho. There was a huge chunk of time where he owned the
That
rights
makes
to them
so much sense.
and he wouldn't distribute them to the cinemas because obviously you have to remember we have no straight to TV, there's no VHS, there's no DVD, there's no streaming services, when all these movies came out. So the only way you got to see a film was if you were fortunate enough to own a television and it had been released to the TV
Hmm.
companies to watch, or the majority of the time you'd pay your 10 cents or whatever it was and you'd go to the cinema and you'd sit at the movies and
The
watch
picture
the
house.
film. Yeah, so he would hide them, he would hoard them because he
That
wanted
makes
people to
sense.
forget the movies so that he could bring them out again and give
No,
the experience. He actually took a lot from Mr. Castle.
yeah, totally understood that. I don't, and Christ, who came first? Because, but I think William Castle just he was so Hitchcock was planning everything for his audience in a way in order to get to them. Whereas Castle was looking for another experience of enjoyment, like, oh my God, I want to do this again. That was so much fun. Like, and like getting people immersed in it. Like, oh, there's such a difference. And I understand the connection, but I would never put William Castle in the same caliber as Hitchcock when it came down to, because I just find Castle so much more fun.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest things I found in the research, just how serious, even though he was a practical joker, he was the only one who found the practical jokes funny.
He
Nine times.
loved limericks,
Oh, filthy
dirty
ones.
limericks.
I mean, don't we all love a bit of a filthy limerick? But time and a place and all that, and he would purposely choose the wrong time, the wrong place, the wrong person.
He wanted to make people feel uncomfortable.
Oh, he thrived off of that. We all know that person. We all know that there's a person that thrives off of making another person feel some which way,
Hmm.
and they know that they do that to them, and they will push and
Push
push
it
and
and
push that
push and
person
push and
because
push.
they know that they've got that button.
Yeah,
So that was him, but he'd push the button. That was the
yeah,
difference with Alfred. He'd push it.
yeah. I instantly, when I was reading about Hitch and obviously getting to know a bit more, I was like, oh my God, there's so many connections here to William Castle. And I was like, fuck, I could not put him in that same element as him because it's so different, but so the same, but yeah, very different.
It was a love for the audience that sort of,
Well, it's a love for movie making and storytelling.
and that's what draws the sort of comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a hoarder of his own movies because it's just how he was. He'd hold, if people wanted it, he'd hold it back. Like it's some sort of,
It makes so much sense. I own every movie Hitchcock's ever made, mainstream movie that is, because my father when eBay first came out, my dad got addicted to it, like seriously addicted. That's how I've got the Janet Leigh picture. I've got a Ghostbusters one behind us, my Silence of the Lambs one, all come from eBay because my dad got super addicted to it, and he got me a box set from Japan of Alfred Hitchcock movies. It's in the living room. I should have brought it in because it's like you've got to see it to believe it kind of thing. Because it's grimy. It's like it's a black case, and every single one. I don't, unless it's got the picture on the disc, I would not be able to tell you what movie that was because it's in Japanese writing across it. But I own the mainstream movies. It's huge. It's like a folder. It's just a folder of all of these films. I've had that for years, and that's why I've never gone out to buy any Hitchcock film because I already own them. They don't even have the Japanese subtitles on. It's all in English. It's fucking insane. I totally forgot about that. I should have brought that in. Um, if we're not, if we're not, I feel like we're going to talk more about this movie because of its context and content. The Hitchcock one with
Anthony Hopkins.
him, isn't the same level. It's a different movie. It's telling the story of Psycho and how he got Psycho off the ground and how he got it made and apparently all the hardship that came with it, and which apparently is slightly bullshit because he didn't have to remortgage his house or anything like that.
Hardship class, he took 60% and he ended up making 50 million by today's standards just from his leverage point. So for all that, it's like a get me out the violin and let's play it for him. And
but
nah.
It does showcase the husband and wife dynamic because Alma has, even though the biographers don't like to say it, Alma has been credited for a lot of ideas that that went into Hitch's films. They worked as a collaborate effort. Not if he was in doubt, she was the woman who was going to tell him yes or no. And it really does. It focuses on that dynamic and her talents as a individual. Um. Also, breaking news. I have an almost Mandela effect when it comes to Psycho. So in the movie, it focuses on, so Hitchcock is having these feelings, not feelings, but kind of like he's so enthralled and took into the world of Psycho and where its origin comes from, which is Ed Gein. Psycho is not based on Ed Gein. I only found this out the other day. Psycho was wrote before Gein's story came out and before Gein was arrested. Dun dun dun.
I think it's one of those things because it's probably of the time, like it was around the same time, so everybody just equates.
No, I feel like because the book comes out, he reads it, and then this arrest happens because it was like dun dun dun, like book comes out, he's arrested, the name's out, the story's out, that it's probably a case of he's putting two and two together and coming up with nipple belts. But yeah, I didn't know that because I've always been under the impression, and it's so hard to actually find out indefinite if that is the case or not.
Yeah.
Because it will say it's inspired, it inspires, from Ed Gein, and then other things have gone on to inspire that from Psycho and Ed Gein's story, and you can't, yeah, that's what I found out. It was hard. It was a hard push. I think I actually took a screenshot of it to make sure I wasn't making this up.
I mean, this is where this girl, the movie, the girl, it focuses on specifically Tippy's workings with Hitchcock. So we're looking at the birds and we are looking at Marnie. They're the two that she shot with him. Now, bearing in mind, I think she was on a 7-picture deal with Hitchcock specifically.
Oh, yeah.
With him specifically. Now, bearing in mind, he would make maybe 3 or 4 films in 5 years, but he didn't have to use her in those films. So
No.
he could keep her under
There.
contract inevitably, which is what he wanted to do. He had such an obsession with this woman. He would be arrested these days.
Yeah, it wasn't it could have been any woman, to be honest, but there was a certain look,
Yeah.
and it was the blonde hair, blue eyes. Basically, it was another Grace Kelly.
hmm
He always kind of wanted to replicate the Grace Kelly, and he manages to get it with her. She is a model in New York who lands massive when Hitchcock finds her and basically offers her everything that she's just asked for, and really starts to lay the groundwork and the grooming of gaining trust, gaining, especially involving his wife.
Yeah, he would. He felt love at first sight for Tippy, and he openly admits that many a time through jest. May I add, he never officially says, "Yes, I fell in love with Tippy the first time I saw her." Nothing like that. The way he words it in interviews, when you see him talking about her in the movie,
Yeah.
he alludes to it. He'll joke about it in his kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
It's very odd behavior.
It's weird. It's fucking weird. Yeah, so it the treatment of Tippy in this, in her making of the birds, there's so many moments where where she is basically put in harm's way.
For the best shot. Or
And
for
don't get me wrong, when you watch the film, and you can if you go in it blindly and watch it like I have done 100 times before, I've seen this, it's fucking phenomenal. But little do you know, it's fucking real.
Yep. That scene where she's fighting off it's inside the house, isn't it?
Yeah,
Uh
it's when they come down the chimney and
yeah.
they're coming.
You had about 4 or 5 people chucking birds, ravens, crows, whatever they were, at her,
Boom.
one at a time, and she was getting scratched to high heaven. They were actually what you see happening is what
Is real.
you've not got some bird handler holding their legs, like holding a fake crow, bouncing it up and down in her face. No, no, no. These things are going at her on purpose. And this was the worst thing, because if I remember rightly, because the you see the behind the scenes way of in the girl, you see how he sets the shot up, you see how she's acting, and you see him hate it. You see him hate, and you watch him in this movie. You watch how he switches,
Yeah.
can't you? You can see
Yeah.
how he switches from.
Oh, I heard Toby Jones, for all he plays it dead straight, there's something about his eyes.
Mm,
There's no expression in his face. It doesn't change. It's his eyes that
yeah,
change. And it's almost like he goes dead.
yeah. And then he'll say something really uncomfortably vile,
Oh.
or he'll just say, like, that moment where he encourages he's annoyed with it not looking right, or a scream not being real enough, or her acting not being more convincing.
Mm-hmm.
And bear in mind, let's go back to the fact that she was a model. She had little to no acting ability or experience. She was just one of those people pulled off the street and thrust into the limelight because he liked the look of her.
Yeah.
So he is in the movie. You see him getting more increasingly pissed off with the fact that it's not going how he wants, and then he pulls them to a side, or he does it. I can't remember this bit, but he then goes, right, we need to do this, and throw the birds at her, and throw the bird, and it gets the shot. By all means, that is a horrible shot to watch, in the respect that when you have an irrational fear of birds, this film as well is quite hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's that whole scene is the tipping point in the movie for me. where you see that it's more about controlling Tippy than it
Yeah.
is about getting the shot for the film.
Yeah. It feels like the two incidents that happen are off the back of advances that she knocks back.
Yeah,
One in the car. I can't remember which one comes first. There's one in the car,
yeah. He
and then
gets to jump on her, doesn't he? Or he like puts his hand on her, and it's
he
very,
literally leches on her.
yeah. It's that,
Ugh.
yeah. It's he's convinced himself that she's given him the go at
Oh
that.
yeah, 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 yeah. This
Yeah,
is yeah. And I can't remember which one happens, but there's the big one is the one we've just talked about.
yeah,
The initial one where she realizes shit is when they're doing the telephone box scene. And if
yes,
you remember it from the film, it's where the birds are attacking. Now, they tell her there's no real birds, and there is no real birds. It's done with fake ones. But he gets a guy because he has had his feelings hurt. He gets a guy to launch a seagull directly into the pane of glass, which goes into her face and cuts her.
hmm,
And that is the first time she is physically hurt on this film.
yeah,
But what she does, instead of instead of showing he has fucking won and given in to him, she then kind of stands up. It's when she's standing outside with the raven on her shoulder because he thinks she's not coming back. He's broke her that much that she's not coming back to the film, and everyone's standing outside. And no, there she is with the raven on her shoulder, like, are we ready to work? And that's when he does it again.
yeah.
And with the real birds, even though he told her they were mechanical birds,
Hmm.
he put real ones in there and he physically, once again, hurt her.
Yep. Because he it is what I think we now know as like a version of coercive control. It's a version of emotional um I'm trying to think of the word that
It's,
yeah, it's he's making her aware that he's in control.
yeah.
She has to do if she wants this, she has
uh,
to do what she's told, and that includes the casting couch.
Well, oh, oh my God, I totally forgot about that. That's right. At the beginning, that we haven't even she doesn't even understand what's going on. She has no fucking idea what is going on. And this is right before she's even started filming. They are literally, and his wife is there. His wife was there. Um, yeah, but it's, oh God, I want to choose my words so carefully. He's so
Yeah,
fucking clever. He is
yeah,
so clever that he did that to her. She didn't know because she doesn't know. She would never know. He has physically hurt her on 2 occasions. She is absolutely traumatized. She is scared. However, the movie does fucking brilliant.
yeah,
And she goes to the glitz and glamour of the premiere, and it's like, oh, you had my best interest at heart. Look at all of this. Everything you promised has come to reality. Maybe this is just how you work. Maybe, I've overreacted. He manages to get in her head that way until Marnie.
now
Nah.
Marnie is one that I've never seen it for the reasons that are very obvious when we talk about it. I
Hmm.
do not like it. I do not like the concept of it. I do not like the idea of such a
And has Sean Connery in it.
yeah, see, me, I love Sean Connery. He was the tastiest Bond as a young Bond in my
I'm a more of a Timothy Dalton kind of person.
eyes.
He's so handsome.
I thought Sean Connery as young Bond was, but then again, there's that link there that Sean came from Albert Broccoli because Albert Broccoli was a very good friend of Hitchcock's, and Hitchcock used to play homage to all the Bond stuff. Like in North by Northwest, there's a massive
Mm,
helicopter scene that was something that was nicked off of a Bond movie, or a Bond out of one of the
yeah.
books. So Connery came in to do this movie, and I would normally watch. I've even watched Time Bandits with him in it, and I've watched some absolute dog shit that Connery's done. But this, I cannot. I just can't. It's too because I've seen the girl now. I
Yeah.
can't watch it. I
No,
can't watch it.
no. I feel I have seen Marnie, but it was a long, long time ago. I generally cannot remember it. I'm a Tippi Hedren fan, so if she was in it, of course, I was gonna watch it. But I generally can't remember it. So this was kind of like oh shit, that's it. I love the fact that they didn't show Sean Connery. We're not going to get anyone to like impersonate, be him. He was just a hand and a shadowy figure.
Yeah.
I'd like that aspect.
And I'm glad he wasn't part of the reason why she never did another film with him again. Because
Mhm.
that scene is what Tippy actually took a break during the middle of this movie, I think, wasn't it? Like after this scene that he'd asked her, or just it was either just before when he was asking her to do the scene, or just after she'd done the scene. There was a section of time, if I remember rightly, where she couldn't function. She could
Yeah.
she went home to her. I don't know whether he was her fiance at the time or she'd just married him, but he kept trying to pull her back in on a honeymoon. He kept trying to discredit the partner.
Mhm.
Alfred was trying to shit all over every part of her personal life and
Yeah.
destroy it and break her down. And he did it. He says that he did it in the name of making Marnie this person after what happens to so she could build herself back up again. He does it under the guise that he's using the Stanislavski method, the real
Yeah.
life. If we use the
Life
real
imitating
life,
art. Yeah.
yeah, and that will then make it more real. Maybe it does. I mean, as we both know, we've both been in performing arts for a very long time. They always say work with use what you know, you
Yeah.
know. So there is that whole thing, but at the end of the day, if she knew this already, that's
Mhm.
a horrifying thing to put yourself through.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
tied in, you can't get out, you're stuck.
She's
This
in a
man,
she's in a world she doesn't understand. She doesn't know it. She doesn't know it well enough. She's come from a modeling background. Hollywood is a whole different fucking kettle of fish, especially around this time. They will eat you. They will own you. And
and
this is what he did to a degree. Just be fucking happy that it was just 2 films.
I'm so glad she said no.
Yeah. Yeah. In this time of this film, he admits, he confesses his love to her, that he's willing to leave his wife for her. He's only ever had one sexual partner, which was his wife. She has to make himself sexually available. It's the way he walked in and demanded it. You need to make yourself sexually available to me at any time, whenever I want it, however way I want it. Ugh, you fucking creep.
And the rumor was he was incredibly impotent. So
Yeah,
the irony of it is not lost. But
probably.
obviously, that actually makes a lot of sense because he's trying to get control in other places because he can't control that.
Yeah.
So, from
Oh,
a
he's using so many tactics.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's psychological warfare is his A game. It's his main tool on his tool belt. He knows how to break someone down, and he knows how to hide it under the guise of the best interest of the movie. And he knows how to hide it under threats that she'll never work again,
Yeah,
and threats that but she knew he meant it. That was the difference. It wasn't an idle threat he threw around. If you don't do this, you'll never work in town again. Like people say, I'll make it sure that you never work in town again. No,
I
you
said
would.
good day to you, sir.
Good day. You'd never see the light of day again. And she had made peace with that after the
She
scene.
did.
After
She
that scene, it was like she was like, and I am done.
out.
Fuck
I
you.
am
I'm
fucking
gone.
out of here. And
Yeah.
he said he wouldn't let her out of her contract.
Nope.
And basically made it a point where she never worked for a very, very long, long time, and it is down to that. Now, there is, like I said earlier, there is biographers who have come out and discredited what Tippy has said. Tippy has, in interviews, stories have changed. However, a liar will tell a story the same way, the same time, every single time, because they have fucking rehearsed it to death. Somebody who is telling the truth, their memory is not that great. The mind can play tricks. The mind can change things around. However, the same context will still come out. It just may be in a different pattern. That is exactly what Tippy has done. Nothing she has said, nothing, the places, the times, the people, the locations may have been different, but the actions and what physically happened to her has never changed in her stories at
Yeah.
all. She was criticized heavily because she went to a award ceremony for him, like in a lifetime achievement ceremony, and she went to his funeral. The woman turned around and gave one of the best replies ever. He may have ruined my career. He did not ruin my life.
No, and that's the thing. I think with the funeral, damn right she goes to the funeral. She needs
And
to
it
make
pissed on his
sure he's
grave.
dead. You know, in her view, if I was her, I need to make sure he's dead. I
I
need
mean, he
to
was
know
cremated, but
he's gone.
yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's closure. It's
That's
final closure.
exactly.
That the devil is gone and he's getting fucking burnt.
But what I wouldn't be surprised about is that the awards ceremony would have been under some sort of duress. It would have been the
Would have been
studio.
part of the fucking
You must
contract.
own that. Yeah, there would be. See, people forget now. People can turn around and go, "I ain't doing that. Fuck you," and they pay a fine and move on. Back then, you did as you were told because it was no questions. You want this, then you have to put up with it. It was as
Yeah.
simple as that. There was no, oh, sir, he's been mean. Make him go stand our way. Make him go away. You had none of that. You were in it or you weren't. And
Yeah.
the scene that I keep referring to in Marnie is a gang,
Grape scene.
yeah, a gang rape scene. Kind of a gang one,
Sounds
kind
like
of,
you're saying gangrene.
yeah, it is. Might as well be.
Yeah.
And it all happens to Tippy, and that we're talking the level of abuse she went through in that in the filming of this scene. Not through the see, this is the thing. I don't want to blame the actors because they were just doing what they were told to do.
Yeah.
And again, if we're applying the logic that you put up and you shut up, then the actors that were playing the roles
Yeah.
in this scene are just doing what they're there to, to be being paid to do, which is follow direction.
Hmm.
So this is a sick fantasy of his that he's having played out for all to see because he wants to humiliate Tippy to such, he wants to degrade her. He wants to humiliate her to such an extent that she becomes this disgusting thing because that's what she is to him.
Yeah.
So to make her in the eyes
Nothing.
of the film nothing, like damaged goods, however however he perceives her as, after the scene, is him playing out, oh, I've got my justification now, you know she made me feel like shit for so long.
So guess what? I'll make her feel
Yeah,
fucking 10 times worse.
yeah. I mean,
The
didn't he go back and try and beg her to come back to another movie at some point?
yeah.
Yeah.
The movie title is called The Girl, and it's based off what he called her after she refused to work with him again.
Hmm.
The Girl. Wouldn't even give her a name.
He was
The
such
Girl.
a pathetic man. I mean,
He's
he's a vile creature. I mean, and that doesn't come from Tippy. Tippy's the only one who had the.
balls in the temerity to stand up.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine there are many, many diaries out there of women that have worked with him. And the amount of female leads he's had over the years, a lot of them don't want to speak up because they don't want to be that person. And can you imagine, even in today's society, speaking up about Alfred Hitchcock, people still hold him with such a high regard. The guy's got his own set of offices still within Universal on the lot.
The fucking he's adored. He's absolutely adored. And as you know, movie lovers,
Yeah.
we shouldn't really be seeing all of this because he is a genius and look at what he's done. Look at all of it. Look at what he's brought to film. But look at what he did to this person's life. It cannot go. I am fucking sick of women, of these stories coming out and nothing being done. Hollywood not being fucking held accountable for their part in it.
I mean, I know it must be really difficult because, in the sense of that, this movie was shot, The Birds was 50s, early 60s. I've gone blank on when it was, but it's around that time.
50s? No, you're right, early 50s.
Yeah, so 52, 53, I think The Birds was. It was around there somewhere. And so women were still very much objectified people. They were very much just there for the scenery, for the set dressing. They were very much there to, like you say, push the plot along. This was a very strange concept of a movie anyway. A woman who meets a guy for the first time decides to go to an island to give him a box, and then gets attacked by strange birds for no reason, and then they fall in love and they've met once and it for 5 minutes, and do you know what I mean? It's such
Yeah,
a strange film concept. um when you boil it down, it feels like it's only been written just to punish her. I know that wasn't the case, but because he
yeah,
might not have had her in mind for the part anyway. But
no.
it, I think at some point when Hollywood, we're talking 70 years ago, 75 years ago, that The Birds came out, 70 years ago plus. We can hold Hollywood accountable for the things they do now because now they can change that shit.
Yeah.
But how do you hold people accountable for things that happened before they were even born, or before the people that are in power now? They can recognize it,
Tell the story. Tell it, and tell it how it should be told.
but then if they do, they could destroy everything. And then would they?
Then maybe it should burn to the ground. I'll always go back to the Judy Garland biography, and third time recording, my voice keeps going. And how they had the perfect opportunity to hand Hollywood its fucking arse, especially MGM. And I'm not talking about the film production, I'm talking about the actual men
Yeah.
behind MGM, the men who hold that name. And they didn't. They sugarcoated it. It was fluffed over. Um, yeah, I feel like stories need to be. You're right. You're absolutely. Of course, you're absolutely right. There's no way of getting back what's already happened. You've got to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself.
Oh, 100%. I think
Yeah.
that's something that, and I'm going to sound like a really old person now when I say this, but the generations that are coming up don't understand that the crimes of the past are not, you can't hold the people of today responsible for the crimes of the past. If you weren't directly there, how are you, unless you're perpetuating it through cycle after the event,
Yeah.
you are playing the part of an enabler that is going through the same cycle and bringing it in. Yes, okay, you can be, but you can't hold today's people accountable for things that happened way before they were born, way before, you know, way before in general, because
Hmm.
you just can't. You can't. That's like coming to me and saying, I don't know, like, I just stupid shit.
I
It just
no,
doesn't
I get
work.
what you, no, I get
Yeah.
what you mean. Hebron was all over this film, loved it. Um, Melanie Griffin actually went to the screening with her, and the minute Toby Jones' voice was heard, she said, "I have to say, when I first heard Toby's voice as Alfred Hitchcock, my body froze."
Oh.
Melanie Griffin then turned around and said, "Well, I'm gonna need therapy again."
'Cause
Clearly
she married
having
Don Johnson, didn't she? Melanie Griffith.
yeah, and isn't she with Antonio Banderas, or did they split up, or is that like
I know that
all?
they were off and on for a long time. But yeah, it's I I'm so torn because I'm torn in the respect of that you have the man, the myth, the legend, then you have the real Alfred. And I
Yeah,
know that this is kind of a biased approach that we're taking in the respect of that,
yeah,
yes, we're siding with the woman. Why shouldn't we? I
yeah.
will,
You can't not believe her because if you don't, like,
I'm
it's
not
that
one of
whole.
these, I'm not one of these people who sits here and will advocate for every single victim. I'm not. That's not my
I
responsibility
can't
in
do
one
that.
way because I don't know the circumstances. However, this woman has written a book. Yes, it's after he died, but to be fair, for her own sanity and safety, it was probably the best time to do it.
Well, yeah, the book, The Dark Side of Genius, who another book that Spotto wrote about sexual predators was back in 1983.
Oh,
Now she started telling stories of Hitchcock around this time. It was actually around 1973 when he was still alive, and she bitterly regretted it
yeah,
because she was so scared of it getting out. Again, we are talking about a film genius,
yeah.
and we shouldn't be doing this.
That man had more tentacles in more ways than one that you
Yeah.
would
And
know.
this started spilling out of her like a therapy session to an author. She knew who was going to keep it and she regretted it bitterly. And this is kind of where the stories start. Oh, well, she downplays things.
Mhm.
And then she kind of like goes, I think when he dies, like it's all,
Yeah,
I can breathe. I can finally do this. It's the it doesn't remind. It kind of reminds me in a way of Christina Crawford, who wrote Mummy Dearest, the story of Joan Crawford, which was turned in one of the best campy biography films ever. I highly recommend you go and watch it. If you're a fan of Drag Race, you have seen Alyssa Edwards play Joan Crawford. Everything she says is from Mummy Dearest. It's not Joan Crawford. Like it's not the original Joan Crawford. But yeah, she after she died, she kind of like revealed everything, whether it's true, whether it's fabricated to create a career for herself that she could never do while her mother was alive. Up for debate, but hey,
that's
who's
the
to say?
thing. I think when you have knowledge of, well, no, when you put together the time that this happened in, right? Then you put together a person's role within that time. So you've got the 50s. You've then got
Mm,
a very pretty woman. You've then got the whole situation with Hollywood with casting couches and now I'm presuming everybody knows what a casting couch is, but if you don't, a casting couch is basically an audition in air quotations that a woman would have to do for the director or the head of a studio or some sort of person of power within the film industry. They would have to perform some sort of sex act or some sort of
they tamed it down a lot in this film, but
yeah.
it oh god, ugh, what's her name? She was in Dynasty. Our sisters are famous. Jackie
Joan
Collins,
Collins,
Joan
Joan,
Collins.
yeah.
Joan Collins was asked once again. I know it's a Marilyn thing, but again, it's probably the only person that I know so much about in Hollywood, um, more than probably any other star. Um, she did an interview about Marilyn, and she was because obviously she knew Marilyn, she'd met Marilyn, and they were like, "Oh my God, like what kind did she give you any advice?" And she went, "Yeah, wear knee pads." How fucking fucked up is that?
That is horrifying, but good advice.
But she
But
never did
horrifying.
it because
Yeah.
she never touched the casting couch. That
That's
woman had Hollywood figured out. Not
yeah.
Marilyn, Joan.
I think that's the thing. You are Joan was put in a position of privilege through knowing Marilyn that gave her the information to stop her from repeating the cycle.
Hmm. Oh,
So therein,
she made men scared of her.
yes, and she knew that Joan knew that that was the only way.
Hmm.
That was the only way of her surviving Hollywood as a whole was to put the fear of God and go down the Betty Davis route of
Oh yeah, you don't fuck with Betty Davis.
don't fuck with me because I will fuck with you and I am that fucking nuts I will do it.
Oh my God, that's such a Joan Crawford line. Don't fuck with me, fellas.
Yeah.
That's
But
Mummy Dearest Joan Crawford.
yeah, it's we have to look at the women that paved the way for the women that are here now. I'm
Yeah,
not a feminist. I want to make this very clear. I'm not someone who will
I'm not.
sit here and campaign for women's rights. I campaign for the rights that that affect me directly, and that's selfish, I know, because I can't speak from anything other than experience, and if I haven't experienced it, I have no right in trying to speak on someone else's behalf.
Yeah,
That's the way I look at feminism.
my sister's a feminist, and she works a lot in femininity and the art with artists. My sister's an art curator. There's a lot of things that I wish I had the time and energy to put into for her sake. But I can barely function day to day, let alone trying to add more on to what I'm dealing with in my own life.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like
I
I can't. Like I'm
understand.
not. Yeah, I do, and I do get hepped up like and bent out of shape over, especially if you're gonna, especially in the line that I'm in with Nerdy Up North. You're gonna come for me because I'm a girl. Fucking don't. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't, because I will absolutely eat you with my knowledge.
And that's also something that I'm going to quickly touch on. I have to say, this woman versus bear thing that came out recently, man versus bear thing. I understand the debate, and I understand the initial
Yeah.
argument that it was started from. It
hmm
became some other fucking beast because people had blown it out of the water,
As
and
they
there were too many
always
people,
do.
yeah, too many people commenting, trying to put varying factors in. It was never about the fact that a bear could rip you to shreds, and it was never about the fact that a bear is far more feral or all that. It was just
hmm
about the fact that a woman once admitted that she felt safer being in a room with a fucking wild animal than she would with a man. That was the whole point of that. And when you boil it down to brass tacks, that is something that we have to thank people like Tippi Hedren for, because if it wasn't for those women advising the next generation of people, people like Marilyn, people like Tippi, and many, many, many others
Many others.
that turned around and said, do not let this happen to you.
hmm
Don't do it. And those women making the choice not to do it, to then pass that information on to the next generation and the next generation, to be able to inform the women that we are now, that you don't get to where you are through going down on your knees on
Yeah.
a casting couch just to get a part.
Let's give Rose McGowan her flowers.
Yep. I mean,
Let's
Rose is an acquired taste to
She
many.
is. She yeah, but she fucking fought. She fucking won. And the fucker's in prison. There's a lot of women out there who, and clearly it's still happening. The Me Too movement speaks for its fucking self. It's not. It doesn't go away, unfortunately.
No.
Um, until minds and mindsets changed. It probably I don't know. I don't have the answer. I am not. Ugh, I don't know.
I
It's a
don't.
hard one to talk about because I never when it comes to subject matters like this, I never want to fucking upset anyone.
Yeah, that's not my intention. I'm only ever
Hmm.
speaking from my personal view. I don't have any extreme ideals. I just know
No. Yeah.
I can
That's
only talk from
yeah.
personal experience, and I can only pass on what I have been through to another woman to advise them from my point of view. I can't sit here and give unsolicited views, and that's why I don't class myself as a feminist, because feminism, the way it's portrayed today, is very extreme. It's very radical. It's
There's
seen
the
this
the
whole,
conversation is so blurred right
yeah.
now
It's
that it's a tricky one to get into that I particularly just would love to stay away from.
Mhm.
I have my opinion. It's mine and mine alone, and you don't need to know it. I don't, unlike everyone, I don't need to broadcast it across the internet in order to get reactions out of people.
And I'm not looking for people to comment under here and tell me I'm wrong, because that's fine. If you think I'm not, it's okay. I
We've
don't
literally just
mind.
said the disclaimer.
Yeah, it's fine. But in the respect of, I completely understand these
Yeah,
women, and I completely I am thankful to them for speaking up, and I am thankful for people that are brave enough to put themselves out there. And I'm thankful for those women speaking up, because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't
This,
know shit. You wouldn't be advised that, oh, what about this? What about that?
yeah,
This is how we get here. This is how this changes. That's how that changes. And unfortunately, there are victims along the way. There are people that
they
end up.
do fall in the cracks, but then there's others who come out shining, like Rose McGowan. Sorry, she's not first, but honestly, when it comes to actresses, there's probably a list. Oh God, Judge now.
Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd, she's another one. There's so many women who have taken the line of and the stance of fucking no. No means no. It means fucking no.
Yeah.
And they've put their careers on the fucking line. There is other women who have kind of, yes, they were behind the Me Too movement, but did they do enough while it was happening? Because they
No, they
certainly
wore their
fucking knew
badge.
about certain things.
They just put the badge on. They just
Put the badge on, went to the
had to-
gala, showed their support. But yeah, I feel like that's a whole
yeah.
different conversation to have on a whole different podcast.
Oh, 100%. I just needed
It
to make
just,
it clear that
oh
I
yeah,
do respect these women, even though I
fucking
say
100%,
I'm not what
100%.
people deem as a typical feminist. I fight for what I know, and that's all I can do.
Yeah.
If you don't have experience in a subject, you don't really have the right
No, and
to give advice on.
you'll find in conversations with me, if I don't understand enough, I'll not say a goddamn word because I'm not going to make a fucking fool of myself and start talking about shit I have no fucking business talking about. Politics is one of them.
Oh, 100%. So yeah, you'll never find us talking about politics. You'll never find us talking about religion overtly, because to be honest with you, it's boring.
And we're
It,
just trying to fucking escape the fucking
yeah,
mundane
it's
life of a
personal.
real
People,
life job.
exactly. People's personal choices in life to how they choose to label themselves
Yeah.
is again a personal thing. It is not for me to judge you in whatever political, religious, um, I don't know, whatever your label is. You have at it. I
You
just
be
have
you. You be
to
you.
you.
And we'll be
I
fucking happy that you're here.
Yeah. Um. It. I. This. This Alfred Hitchcock was initially to talk about the man and the amount of adoration and the amount of love that this man has been given over the years. That's where I was originally going to go with it versus the girl. But I can't really bring myself, although I recognize completely, if it wasn't for this man, we wouldn't have movies like we do now. I get he has
No,
contributed.
he's left an imprint in movie making. He is in storytelling. He has left an imprint. He has left a mark that it cannot be ignored.
Mm.
But it doesn't mean that we have to recognize the behavior that came alongside it.
And
And
like, yeah.
this is exactly been my point when I did the Wizard of Oz episode on Nerdy Up North. I did so much fucking work for that episode, but I didn't want to skirt over the fact that over this amazing film that has brought so much love, there is so much pain, there is so much torture, there is so much fucking, trauma that goes into it. I didn't want it to not be recognized. I can totally separate, and I feel like me and Dan are on the same page with this. We can separate the shit storms from the actual art.
Yeah, because you have to. You have to. You,
Apart from Jeepers Creepers, we don't know where we lie with that.
yeah. Victor
Yeah,
Silver's
we're
a whole
stay away
nother.
from that.
Victor Silver's a whole. Salva's a whole nother.
Yeah, we
In
just
saying that, I've got a Jeepers Creepers creeper staring at me just above this. So,
this is what drives me insane. He is one of the great conceptually amazing monsters out there. He looks fucking phenomenal. But
and
there's such a fucking stigma attached to it.
Jonathan Breck is one of the nicest men you'll ever meet.
Oh, it's just we will navigate and negotiate that one in our own time, in our own way. But for now, I want this to be over.
Mm-hmm.
I understand where we were intending to go with it because it's something that we've done before. We've talked about the man behind the movie, the man behind the makeup. It's never been a person who has had so much baggage that it was hard to ignore.
Yeah.
So if this is not the episode you were expecting, I should have said it at the beginning.
Surprise!
Sorry, I apologize. I give a disclaimer at the front to say that this is just based off what we have learned, what we have and what we have researched, and unfortunately, it's been a shit show of horrible, horrible, horrible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But did you do a connection?
I did.
Holy shit! How?
It was this one was
To
probably,
him?
this was probably one of the longest ones that it took me the longest amount of time to get
Yeah.
to where I needed to go, and I had to keep. I think there was 3 times where I had to backtrace and start again.
Okay.
Didn't lead to where I thought it was going to lead to.
Right.
So I will say this was one of the hardest ones, but yes, I've managed to do it.
Let's go.
In 1966, Hitchcock directed The Torn Curtain, featuring Paul Newman and Julie Andrews. Julie's arguably most famous role was as Maria in The Sound of Music. However, she also starred in 1982's Victor Victoria as Victoria Grant. Her co-stars featured James Garner, Leslie Ann Warren, and the superb John Rhys Davis. Now we all know him as Gimli, obviously. He voiced the
Son of
character.
Goyne.
Yeah, he voiced the character Galahad in Wizards, part of the Tales of Arcadia franchise, which I loved, by the way. And yeah, little known fact about me, I binge watched a lot of those, and I was in love with it.
Dan loves fantasy.
The Lady of the Lake was voiced by Stephanie Beatriz, sorry, or Rosa to all of you from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Wunsch from Brooklyn Nine-Nine was played by Kira Sedgwick, who is married to Kevin Bacon, and Kevin Bacon was in Hollow Man with Elizabeth Shue, and Elizabeth Shue played Chris in Adventures in Babysitting. So that was hard fought.
Alfred Hitchcock to Chris.
That was hard fought, but I got there in the end, and it's not even the people that was in his movies. Like, I got to Sean Maguire at one point.
What?
Oh yes,
The Sean Maguire.
The Sean Maguire. There was a turn that it took when I got to Wizards, where it was either go to Colin O'Donoghue, who played Hook in Once Upon a Time, which then connected me to Sean Maguire because he played Robin Hood in Once
Okay.
Upon a Time, which then took me to EastEnders, and I was like, how the hell do I get from EastEnders to Adventures in Babysitting? So I had to
That's not a route you want to go down.
Well, no. And then there was other ones where I was ending up sort of with Adam Woodyer, and I was like, I've got to
Oh my gosh, you'll be getting back to Coronation Street.
Yeah, there was a point.
Oh no, he's not. Adam Woodyer is Ian Veilman.
Yeah. There was a point where I did touch on Coronation Street though, but it was just like I've got to work that one back, and then as soon as I saw Stephanie Beatriz, why do I keep doing that? Beatriz, who's also in, shall we say, Twisted Metal at the moment. She plays Quiet. Season 2's up, and I'm very disappointed, but it's the only thing I like Anthony Mackie in.
There's an English woman on TikTok, and I'm saying English because I just to tell you where the video is from, of her little girl singing I think it's called Stand Up, that Cynthia Erivo sings. Oh god, I can't even remember I love the song, it's fantastic, but it's tiny little girl singing like she's in a choir, like her voice was unreal, and Stephanie Beatriz commented on it, and I was like, oh my god, like that's so weird.
She was the voice of Encanto, wasn't she?
She's also in Lin-Manuel Miranda's. Now we all think Hamilton is his first. It's not. Into the Heights is his first.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and she was in the film version of that.
But yeah,
well, that was Alfred Hitchcock. Now I'm fucking grateful that it's over with. In a good way, like gone. Yeah, out the brain. I'm glad we did it. Like, it was a history lesson, and to be honest, I for all that I love Hollywood in a Hollywood history, I like to add to my knowledge bucket because I do like the darker side. It's weird to say I like the dark. I find it fascinating. But next week Next week is not like that. Next week is going to be chirpy. It's going to be cheerful. And we're going into anthology horror.
Correct.
Tell the people, Dan.
Next week, we are going to be doing the 2019 anthology horror, The Mortuary Collection, featuring Clancy Brown, amongst many, many others. But it's going to be a nice one because we've both got very busy weeks coming up and we need something short, sharp, and sweet, but also quite fascinating and quite interesting at the same time. So I don't think Sammy's seen this. Have you not seen this?
No, I have not seen this.
I'm
The
really
minute
looking
you
forward
said
to it.
you said mortuary, and I went, okay.
It's on Shudder now.
And
For
then
anyone who has the Shudder app.
I think it's also on Prime as well, but that
Yep.
could just be part of Shudder.
Yeah.
Just to give you, yeah, if you want to go and watch it beforehand, obviously you can come and join the fun with us next week. It scores 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I know people don't pay attention to them kind of critiques, but that's a high marking.
I loved it. I've watched it 2 or 3 times within a very short period of time, which isn't like me. I only do random films. Like it's one of those things where I think, oh yeah, I'll watch that again. Like I have movies that I watch religiously every year, like Trick or Treat. I always watch it at Halloween. You know,
Yeah.
Sam's got to come out at Halloween. It's just part and parcel of Halloween. Um, but yeah, it's one of those. I used to watch. I've stopped it now, but I used to watch The Hogfather every Christmas.
Oh my
Chris
gosh,
Ratchford's The
okay.
Hogfather. That was one of my religious
Mine,
ones. But
mine was Independence Day.
yeah, yeah.
Because for one Christmas Eve, it was on ITV or something, and it just became the movie that we just watched. Haven't done it for years. Like mine and Nance's obviously Die Hard, and Christmas doesn't really start until Muppets Christmas Carol's been on, and I've watched it with my sister. So if I don't watch it with my sister, then it just never happens. The people also ask, is Mortuary Collection a good movie? An absolute blast. Delightfully gory, darkly comic throwback to old horror anthology films.
Mhm.
You couldn't say me more in that description.
It's a very colourful world as well. For
It
some,
looks at the front cover
yeah.
looks fantastic. It's almost given us like, and this isn't my era of television at all. Like, what's it called? This, oh, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And
It's got hints of all of that.
Goosebumps and stuff like that. It kind like the look of it, just the poster alone, kind of given that little and that. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. We need something light and fluffy. We've had a very slasher-tastic time recently, and this was a really heavy one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I have a really really heavy week, so this would be like an absolute godsend break for me.
Yeah, and when you see me when this comes out, I would have just finished Wales Comic Con, and this upcoming weekend we will have For the Love of Fantasy down in London with all the
Whoosh.
guys from Supernatural, all the guys from Lord of the Rings, all the guys from Vampire Diaries.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, do you know what? People
Mm,
think I don't like things like that, but I do.
she
Surprise!
does.
I
She
am
does. If I
hence
could
why
be
I'm here.
bothered, I could turn around and get you the worst looking Frodo figure I own. I collect Lord of the Rings figures, a certain collection
Mhm.
from when the movies came out, but I do have a bendy fig. Oh, it's horrific.
Yeah, they're not good.
They're
They're
not
not
good
good.
at all. They're not good at all. So yes, that's been Alfred Hitchcock. Next week is the Mortuary Collection. Oh, this episode goes out on a Monday, now at 10 o'clock. I changed it. Totally forgot that I did that, but I did change it to 10 o'clock. Because I mean it means it makes no difference really because it's there, it's available. If you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when it becomes available. It just gives me a little time in the morning to get a post out. So I am not panicking that I haven't done it before the episode comes out at 8 o'clock because I start work at 8 o'clock too. So it's a nice little feeling of, whew, yeah, I can get it out. But the audio for the episode goes up on the same day. You need to search Monsters Up North podcast from anywhere you get your podcast from. The links for Bleeding Marvelous, Monsters Up North, and Nerdy Up North are where, Dan?
They are down there.
Oh, you've gone black. Ooh,
I had
oh,
to
I
because
like.
we're in mourning. We're in mourning for our Lord and Saviour, Mr. Osborne.
Oh my gosh.
We haven't
Okay.
talked about it because we had
We
2 weeks off.
didn't.
So last time we talked about it, he was alive. He was with us.
And we were talking about
Um,
the concert. We had like a full-on conversation about the concert and the convention.
and I've
And
met
then
Kelly since then, and he was in the room next to us. And I've seen Sharon in real life, and she was right next to me. And it was a very surreal thing. And then 4 days later, he had said, "Fuck you, I'm leaving this mortal coil." I bet he did it on his own.
it is the most iconic way to go out.
I will give this
Final
time.
show, final con, see yous the fuck later. Ta-ta.
This time.
We'll never like the British press for the photographs that they took of Sharon and her family. Well, I just
I
can't.
will say I watched the funeral procession because I didn't know what they were going to do. I knew
I didn't know the extremity of the press and
I
the
thought they were going to just take his body in the hearse, obviously,
mm,
to the wall and to the bench so
yeah.
that they could look at it. I didn't realize the family were going to get out of the car. And
No, I didn't expect that. And it was a nice touch because it obviously showed Sharon, you know,
human and not a robot because so many people think she's a robot.
yeah. Yeah. My mum has such high regards for her. She saw her doing the vagina monologues years ago and just always said she's honest, she's funny. There's just something about her that you can't not like.
My mum's taller than her, I think. I'd say Sharon is
Then
at
that's probably why she likes Sappho.
4'8", 4'9" at least, Sharon.
My mum's 4'11.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would just like to say night night, sleep tight, Mr. Osborne. Thank you for the music, and
Thank you.
you
Thank you.
were coming home, weren't you, mate? You were.
Yeah, he definitely was. Oh, if there's nothing else left to say goodbye, Dan.
Bye bye. Oh,
Stay sweet.
okay.
Oh, go
I
on.
am Iron Man.
Does what?
Bow, 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 bow. Bye.
Does whatever an iron can. Stay spooky, everyone. Bye.